Excellent.
Right.
Right. Well, absolutely not caught with our pants down here.
No.
Right.
No.
Let me put on the Twitch chat because this is mildly important to us. And welcome to a stream that is, elaborate and very prepared.
Yes.
Once again, it is a pleasure to have you with us. Well, I'm talking to you guys at home, but also to our very own Jeff Spock, narrative director.
Hi guys and gals. Hello everybody.
Of course. And as for myself, Frog Squadron friendly community manager. Just a quick thing.
Friendly.
Kat, could you just increase the size of the chat because it's barely readable? And today we have quite a special stream because it's the worst day of the year for everyone who really likes games and likes game announcements of any kind. Volume too low.
Volume too low.
Okay. Right. Well, let's see if we can push the volume.
Thank you.
Right. Well, you guys tell us if the volume is better now. We've pushed it by approximately 35%. Is it better?
Okay, cool. Begs the question of do you really want to hear this or not? But anyway.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we have quite a lot of stuff to go through today. But first, I thought, maybe we should. Basically, this is an April Fool's stream, and we're gonna start, going down
memory lane.
Yeah, memory lane, exactly, which is my favorite place to visit because I don't like going other places I don't know. This way, I'm not, disappointed anyway. So we're gonna revisit some of the terrible jokes we played on you guys over the last few years. So let's roll with the stuff. So this was Wings of Freedom, I believe. Wow, that was before my time. It was a side-scrolling shooter for the Neo Geo X.
Yes.
And as you can see, if you squint a bit, it already had the very, very unique amplitude palette. I think it kind of prefigured Dungeon of the Endless in a way, in the pixel art and stuff.
Definitely. We had a lot of very positive feedback. People knew it was a joke, but then they're saying, well, yeah, but could you do it? Yeah, we have other projects in the pipeline, thanks,
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what year it was, but if you guys were already there back then, let us know in the chat. Just here to say you rock, friends. So, well, thank you. You're totally not one of my former colleagues. I'm happy to see you in the chat. And that was sadly not something that happened afterwards.
No.
That started a long line of things that just almost happened, I guess. By which I mean not really. Super Endless Fighters 4X was is this the only
graphic
image we have?
Yeah.
Because we had
there we are
basically our own multi combat. I guess a little less graphic than that. Side fighter. We have a whole bunch of people here who really are into fighting games.
Yes, at lunchtime, all you hear is the sound of like flesh hitting in fighting games.
Yeah, I was gonna say mostly programmers, but actually this is not true. A lot of the artists are also
a lot of the web people as well.
Yeah. So like they tend to play the classics. They'll play Street Fighter 2. They'll bust out the old Sega consoles, of course, and they'll plug it in and have a go. But this was not my personal favorite. I think I'm not sure if we have it. Do we have the one where in Dungeon of the Endless we actually pretended it was an FPS? I was
sadly no.
Well,
okay.
That's one of the the sad things about changing platforms over the years is that sometimes the archives kind of tend to disappear.
They're ephemeral.
Shout out to MySpace. Yeah, sorry.
That was elegant.
Yeah, so we have a pretty strong tradition of just putting out nonsense and then regretting not actually making the game, which kind of I guess leads us to the point of last year.
Yes.
We were kind of like, especially if you've been paying attention today. A lot of studios have announced like their own version of a dating sim or other. We were kind of ahead of the curve in this one. I'm guessing because we released this.
Yes, we made an announcement. Well, not an announcement. I teased an announcement for Horatio Full Boyfriend, which says everything.
Yeah, I mean,
no explanation needed if you're on this stream.
Yeah, especially, it was, we mostly ripped a lot of the assets straight from the Hateful Boyfriend people. Hopefully they didn't mind, well, they let us know really about it, so hopefully they were okay with this. If you're watching it and you're part of, that crew,
we love your game.
Yeah, of course, but, we thought, what would be even sillier than pigeons. You know, probably someone where, you know, all the people you could date, you could actually not distinguish at all. You know, it was...
Which is a wonderful thought, you know. Family photos from the date. Who's who? But anyway,
yeah, exactly.
Yes, you know.
Is this your brother, father? Oh, okay, all right.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, as you guys probably are aware, the response was very good. So we thought that this year maybe we would tell you a little bit more about Horatio. We have, you know, the lore master here with me today, and we have, you know, we had him refresh his own memory because, you know, it's a vast font of all the terrible things.
Yeah, and it's not shaped like a really smart person,
yes,
so I don't always.
That much space left.
I don't remember it all. No, definitely
exactly.
not. Sadly.
So yeah, could you tell us a little more about, you know, Horatio and the inspiration behind the man and the machine? Well, the man and the clone, really.
The man and his machines.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Well, Horatio was born from a need to do a 4X faction. That would be one of these 4X factions that does sort of the population victory, the victory by just churning out tons of troops. And so we thought, well, what can you do? I mean, traditionally you think of things that breed a lot, you know, like ants, but then we already had the cravers, you know. I think like rabbits, you're going to make rabbits into a faction? I think not. So we had to come up with some sort of idea for a faction that does a sort of population pressure victory. And so Romain and I were throwing ideas around, and we just thought, well, what if it's like, you know, clones came up as an idea. Well, sure, clone. You can clone a whole bunch of things, but, you know, what would you clone? And then sort of the natural progression, at least for Romain and I, was, well, you know, if you're the most perfect and wonderful person in the universe, naturally, I mean, obviously, you would want to clone yourself and make just infinite numbers of equally gorgeous and perfect things and fill the galaxy with that. So to us, it seemed a natural train of thought to end up at Horatio. Now, other people might have come up with other things because they don't have our particular childhood psychoses. So, you know, It varies depending on who's doing the inventing.
Were you an only child, Jeff?
No, I was the youngest of 4, and that could be part of it. So anyway, that's basically where the idea for Horatio came from. And we, you know, it's always been a pretty positive response. We've had a lot of fun with the character. One of the things about Horatio is that, you know, the Sophons are clearly sort of humorous. The Cravers are clearly not. Horatio's always kind of walked a fine line between serious megalomaniac obsessive and sort of comic relief. And that's something that's been kind of fun to play with throughout the history of our games. I think one of the ramifications of this whole Horatio society, though, is the issue we have with, see, if you have like this one person and like a billion more like them, and they're all sort of ambitious and intelligent like the Prime is, you have an awful lot of infighting, an awful lot of backstabbing and that sort of thing. And so it's kind of the idea of like having like a dating sim where your boyfriends, you know, do they love you? Or are they going to stab you in the back, or maybe both at the same time? You know, you don't know. It sort of seemed like a very fun idea to come up with and to throw out there as an April Fool's joke. So that's sort of where all that came from.
I think you actually have my paper. These are questions for Jeff.
Oh, this is questions for Jeff.
Yeah, I have questions for me.
And these are questions I'm supposed to ask you.
Yeah, at some point.
Oh, okay. Well, this is we really planned this very thoroughly.
Yeah, as you can see, we're right.
Sorry. It is April Fool's, okay?
Of course the questions got confused because everybody looks the same. Yeah,
well, exactly. As Kat says, how can you tell the questions apart? You can't tell the people apart. So the hetero-full boyfriend was basically Francois' baby. So the obvious question is, did you expect to get that kind of reaction? Because as I understand, that's sort of we had the most response ever to a tweet or to a posting, or
pretty much. It was one of our most popular blog posts, of 2018, really. And so the answer is no. We didn't exactly expect that kind of reaction, mostly because, you know, it's an April Fool. It's a throwaway joke. You would think people would just watch the thing, or, you know, interact with your joke and then get over it. And then it kind of, you know, developed a life of its own. People were really just very, very into it, and then we saw that joke kind of pop up every single stream, really.
Somebody would pop, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
would come back and say, hey, where is Horatio dating sim? Or, somebody would say on the forums, I would just wish you guys would make this. That was almost as popular as the Total War Endless or the
Right.
Endless Legend Total War or the Mass Effect type
RPG, yeah, right. So, yeah, there's a lot of these games we would love to do someday, but, not today. But why a visual novel? Why did the idea was just the humor of Horatio dating Horatio, or is it a...
Yeah, a large part of the idea, relies on the idea of usually in the visual novel, especially the dating sim kind of type, you have like a varied cast of characters that you can interact with and get to know and seduce.
All widely varying with different characters usually, and temperaments and
But in this case, it's like, this is the exact same dude, from the same mold, and he's all kinds of crazy, but all of them are the same kind of crazy.
Same kind of crazy.
So it was kind of the anti-character by excellence. So yeah, I felt that's what made the joke work, and that's probably a lot of what people connected with.
Right.
What about you? How horrified were you when we said, you know what, this is Apple's fault? Did you ever expect us to come with that kind of stuff?
No, I mean part of the thing is, the endless universe is there to be enjoyed by the community, by the players, by the devs. But every once in a while, someone comes up with an idea and, hey Jeff, can we put this in a marketing campaign for a joke? And I'm like,
sorry.
Yeah, maybe not. But but they came up with this, and I was like, it's just such a, it amused us so much to think of this thing of, dating. Oh, which of these three identical people should I? You had to say yes. And again, because it's Horatio, who has that balance between like the megalomaniac, serious, almost psychopathic obsession for control, and the whole joke about the Society of Clones. It's one of the things you go, yeah, okay, that works. Go with it.
Okay.
Didn't have a problem with that.
So a question actually I saw in the chat, but also have written down on my piece of paper here. How common is intrigue in Horatio's society? Not everybody here, I'm guessing, has played the Horatio campaign in the Space 1 or 2. So tell us a little more about this.
Well, yeah, I think it's trying to imagine what the society would be like is actually it's actually a lot of fun. And you think about, okay, if you have these really identical people that are basically cloned identically, and they attempt to, of course, indoctrinate them identically, bring them up identically, so they all fit in this place in this very hierarchical society. That for certain characters, you must have this really strong desire to differentiate yourself. As all humans do automatically, that you have to have that, and you have to have people who think, because they're all got this sort of genetic makeup that makes them think they're the most perfect. Well, naturally, they should be the leader, not the other person. Mm-hmm. And people should listen to them. They don't have to listen to others. So it would seem naturally with this kind of genetic makeup and this kind of society, you would have an awful lot of these, like, behind the scenes backstabbing and that sort of thing, and a lot of little political conflicts. Of course, if it gets out of hand and becomes obvious, that's inelegant. So it would all be bubbling under the surface, I think. I think there'd always be this like tension, but it'd be really hard to like sort of stand up and be the one who's causing trouble and sticking out and having Horatio go, you are imperfect. That's it. You're destroyed. Yeah, like ruins your life, right?
Exactly.
So it seems like there'd be a lot of this kind of thing going on. It's kind of a fun thought. That's basically what the Faction Quest was about, playing with this kind of idea.
Which leads into my second question. This one, I guess a lot of people here will know the answer. Did Eddie or Horatio ever replace another without anybody else knowing?
How would you know?
Play the game and find out.
Play the game and find out. Yeah, no, but that's again, if you tilt over to sort of the humorous clone side, it's like, haha, I murdered him and replaced him with his identical double, so nothing changed. It's all this sort of, tragicomic black humor kind of thing.
It's like in The Simpsons when Fat Tony dies, and then his cousin Fit Tony replaces him, and then becomes gradually fatter, and then Fat Tony again.
Yeah, I suppose that's exactly. I think that maybe they stole that idea from us. I don't know. But anyway,
we can
entirely possible.
Again, say Simpsons did it first.
Second.
God.
Horatio is the most perfect. Anyway, so yeah, that's there's a lot of things that what we like doing in the Faction Quest and in the games is, Because you come up with an idea based on gameplay, and you set the thing up, and then when you're doing the faction quest, you start to tweak it and play with it, and that sort of thing. So that's where I did that. So yeah, I mean, from your point of view, why Hatoful Boyfriend? I mean, what about Horatio Society, other than the fact that they're identical clones? Was there a thing that made you come up with? I mean, because you could have done Sophons, because they look identical in their little armor, and they're purely comic. So you could easily have gone down that road, or you could have, I don't know, taken the Unfallen or the Riftborn. They all look like identical robots, but for some reason,
I mean, yeah, there is something special, I believe, about Horatio Society in that it's, even though the Empire, the United Empire, is also kind of a very grim-looking society presented through the prism of propaganda. The Horatio Empire is just presented as beautiful. You can see that it's it's dealing with a lot of very dark stuff like eugenics, and then you're just assimilating entire populations, and it's basically the way I guess we found to tackle very difficult subjects in a way that is not just moaning about how they're terrible, you cannot play them as the player. So we're just taking the angle of look at how sometimes inept they are because of their own greed and search for
perfection,
what they call perfection, which is just conformism really at any cost. I mean that's
don't go there, man. Don't go there. Don't go there.
Sorry. Okay. Didn't mean to offend.
It's open to interpretation. I mean, you can decide for yourself. You play the faction quest. Who's alive at the end?
Right.
We left that a little vague for you, just so you could add your own interpretation. That's the fun of it.
So I have another question for you, which is, what is the greatest faux pas that Horatio can commit? The one that Horatio himself would say, you're imperfect.
Wow. Well, it's hard. I mean, there's so many little things. I mean, not knowing what the latest fashion is, or knowing what it is but wearing it wrong. I mean, but those would be little faux pas that you would sort of expect if you're sort of out in the provincial rim of the empire. I suppose incorrect etiquette vis-a-vis Horatio himself, should you meet him. That would probably be, I guess, like the old lèse majesté sort of thing. If you meet the king and you don't bow correctly, I imagine a thing like that shows disrespect for the most perfect, I guess, would have to be the biggest faux pas. Other than that, I mean, you can imagine tons of things about what's the latest vocabulary, what's the latest trend in art, what's the latest trend in, I was going to say hairstyle, but that wouldn't work. Sorry. But that sort of idea, right? But no, it would have to be something vis-a-vis Horatio himself. If you screw up there, you're back to the recycling vats. That's it. I mean, you can never recover. Never recover.
Do you have a question for me?
Well,
maybe not really. Okay, none of these.
Yeah. No, we'll come back to those later.
All right. Well, then I have one last question, which is very conspiracy theory-ish to you. And I guess it's when you're like, what do you think of the theory that when you're playing Dungeons & Endless, you actually play Horatio?
Yeah, for those of you out there who've played either the Endless Space games and Dungeon of the Endless, you might remember that in Dungeon of the Endless, as you meet monsters and heroes, there's a notebook that gets filled out bit by bit. And the question was, okay, in the meta behind the game, who's writing that notebook and why, right? And so we came up with this idea when we were creating the notebook. Actually, one of the artists, I think it was Ronan and Max and I came up with this, is that, well, okay, so who would be going to Auriga and watching all these things and taking notes and that sort of thing? And it was like, well, where did Horatio get his cloning tech from, right? The most advanced biological scientific technology in the universe would be where? Well, in the old lab planet of the endless concrete, in Auriga. So he said, well, logically, he's behind this whole colonization thing and the ship that goes down. So when we were doing the comics for Endless Space 2, as you know, we decided to do this backstory comic of Horatio and how, in fact, it really was him who was pulling all the strings behind the crews that were there in Dungeon of the Endless. So we had a huge amount of fun pulling all these pieces together, these little clues we've been dropping in the games for like 4 years. We could finally make the comic that came out and said, yes, that's what it is. So we had a lot of fun with that. That is officially canon, I have to say. And as you can see from the image here from the comics, that's actually from a Horatio nightmare, this image of this perfect empire that's falling apart. And that's what drove him, this fear that in spite of his great wealth, somehow it could all fall apart for him. So he had to get there. He had to find the cloning technology. He had to make this work.
I believe that for the OG and the Space players, this is actually, based on the defeat screen if you're playing Horatio, which, if you're a true Horatio, you've probably never seen.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
You're one of the lesser
Why'd we
Horatios.
even make that? I mean, what a waste of an art asset.
Exactly.
But,
you
okay,
might have seen
whatever.
this one before. So it might look familiar, and that's
Right.
the reason why.
That's exactly why. Good call. Good call.
Right. I mean, we have something to show you, but I guess we can keep those questions for later.
Yeah, we can hold those questions for
And just move on to the next parts. So, Kat, if you please.
Want to roll that,
we'll
Kat?
See you in a couple of minutes.
Peggy 12.
We are Horatio. Look upon us and be awed.
And we're back.
I'm sorry, that's beautiful, man. That's just beautiful. Oh, yes. So,
Right. So, yeah, the unzipping was just being a little warm. So
sorry. Yeah, a little warm there. Sorry, I'm better now.
Right. So,
Over to you, Francois.
yeah, I guess. So yeah, the thing we didn't tell you guys, and one of the reasons if you've been hanging around the community that you've seen me a lot less in the last few months, and that this thing you've just seen is actually a joke that went too far, maybe. So starting today,
Yes.
you will be able to play the first part of Love Thyself, a Horatio story on Steam for free. It is something that's taken us the last few months to create, and I was lucky enough, to be in the studio where everybody's like, well, this is a crazy idea. I have no idea what to even make of it, but it sounds amazing, so we're gonna let you do it.
So we ought to do it, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and so with some help from the rest of the marketing team and some of the programmers and some other people actually had answers to questions I couldn't find the answer for myself. We actually managed to create something that I believe will make some of you guys happy. About it's a story about someone very special, someone who looks like everyone else in a place to live, and that someone is you. So yeah.
So yes, I have to say that I thought the dating sim was a really funny idea. And then, like, sort of 6 months later, Francois is still talking about the dating sim. I'm like, haha, that was a nice idea. He's like, yeah, but, and then I'm like, yeah, but would you? So he started doing it, and a lot of people said this is a great idea, and he got a lot of support in the studio, and so it just kind of snowballed, and so it is. It is now a game. It is part of the Endless universe. But okay, now here's some questions. Would you really call it a dating sim?
So it is at the moment, especially in the first part, which is the one that is releasing today, it is mostly a visual novel with some maybe dating sim elements. That is, if you can survive. If you're not too silly or too imperfect to pass the day.
So this is a kind of dating sim with potentially lethal consequences if you make the wrong choice.
Yes, I mean that is for you to find out. I wouldn't want to spoil it, but
okay,
yeah.
Okay. So that's a pretty dystopic dating sim, right? I mean, how would you describe your take? I mean, you heard my take on the Horatio faction. I'm curious to hear what your sort of vision of that is.
I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I believe that these are probably the true villains of the Endless Universe. They're the worst in so many regards. Like their society is very dystopic. They have this pretend, I guess, it's not even meritocracy. It's like it's based on how perfect you were at birth and how close you were to the true Horatio prime genome. So I'm guessing a lot of the splicing they're actually doing probably result in models they wouldn't want anywhere near them. You don't want someone who's got like hulking, bulging arms like a Cravers, because you definitely do not look like Horatio Prime. And so what they're saying and what is actually experienced by the people who live in that society is probably very different, and would make for a jarring experience as someone who would, for any reason, happen to wake up with none of the memories of Horatio himself. So yeah, legit the worst is my answer.
Okay, interesting. And so, but something in this compelled you to want to write this whole game, because you've done pretty much 100% of the first part that's coming out. So that you wanted to take that and see where it would go.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the, I guess a lot of the story, a lot of the attraction to this is, how do these people find meaning in their lives? How do these people define themselves, knowing that they can never attain the perfection or the satisfaction of knowing that you are your own person? And how do they relate to one another? Because I'm guessing that more than the overarching, very high level diplomatic concepts of what goes on between civilizations in the Endless Universe, I'm interested about the small stuff. Like what does it look like when the Cravers and the cell phone go for coffee together? How does that happen? Or how do these people hang out? In the metro, does it look like Zootopia or something? And they have their tiny entrance and the small entrance. Well, tiny and big. Sorry,
tiny and big, and small in between. But yeah,
I mean, you have a picture of a metro car, I think, in one quest. It's actually a great picture.
It is.
Well, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't look the same in in the Horatio Society, and this is a chance for you to find out.
So yeah, we hope you guys. It's free. It's out there. It's a labor of love from us to you. We hope you play it and enjoy it, and we're looking forward to seeing your comments. When is it available? Is it available today, tomorrow?
It's supposed to be available like right now, pretty much. Can someone in Twitch chat or YouTube tell us if it's already available? Oh, already downloaded. Great. Well, it's available right now. So now we're going to be taking questions while you guys progressively, I guess, leave this chat and start playing.
And start clicking. Yes, it is a visual novel. So
right. Well, thanks, Tyrells, for putting the chat in YouTube, in Twitch. I'm guessing YouTube. You know the way. You can just head over to our developer page on Steam, and if you guys have questions about anything, now's the time.
Absolutely. So,
do you have one yourself?
For you. So this is the first part of it. How many parts are there?
Oh, well, 2, thankfully.
2.
I mean, okay. Right now the goal is to deliver the end of the story. This is pretty much the first half of the narrative arc, and then at the end you have, of course, a terrible cliffhanger, because that's the kind of terrible people we are. And then we aim to deliver part 2 in the coming months. So and then you're not gonna get it next week, because now that we've released that bit, we gotta start working the second. So it's probably some time off, but hopefully before summer maybe is a very tentative kind of timeline. Yeah, in
Q2. Okay, and I'm not gonna promise a deadline, because I think I have to do some work on that too. So that's going to stay flexible for the moment. But yes, okay.
Will the future pod be free as well? Yes, and that is kind of a commitment from us. It's like, yeah, we made the mistake of making the thing for free, and now we're committing to the bit. This is entirely free.
No, that would be a little sleazy. So the first half is free, the second half you have to pay for it.
Or loot boxes for other Horatians.
Loot boxes. Anyway, not that. Yeah. Anything but.
Android version may be in the future. We want to make sure that we get this one right first, and then we'll look at possibilities.
Trying to do that. Yep, exactly.
No joke, question mark. No joke, exclamation mark. No joke.
No, this time.
Those t-shirts. Those are actually the two only t-shirts in existence with Love Thyself. I'm just going to show it to you again so you can bask in his glory. This is fresh off the press. We had those made, just last week.
Yes.
We're pretty happy with those.
I'm making sure I'm sweating a lot in mine so nobody else wants it. It's nice. Very, very happy to have this.
Yeah, a lot of people here are very, very envious of those t-shirts.
A lot of jealous people.
I can see why. They really turned out great.
Yeah, they're very good, I think.
The real April Fools is thinking this is a joke. Exactly.
See?
Yeah, I'm glad someone gets it. It's like, oh, they're going to really think until it actually starts downloading, until they click play, until it, that it is a joke. But no, it is not. And so we hope that in this day of madness and all of false hopes and disappointments, actually there is something that brings some joy to you.
That is actually solid and real and playable.
Yeah, in the form of a lot of very bold men.
Doing weird things, but...
Are we sure the real
Peggy 7
is litigious? We actually asked the person who actually has the right version of that name, and they were like, you know what, that's fine by me. So because we made that very joke in the previous year, we had a Plunkett say something about the game. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, we thought, oh yeah, we're definitely going to contact them and see if we can add that fake quote in there, and they were like, yeah, sure. So,
lucky us.
Has at least 8 Steam achievements. Yes, that is true. It has at least 8 Steam achievements.
Today, at least.
Someone is saying we want an anime of this. Well, that is probably getting us,
anime?
Yeah. If you guys know people at Netflix, just have them contact us.
Right, sure. Absolutely.
Get in touch with our people and they'll do...
And we'll do lunch or whatever. Yeah, exactly. That sounds good.
So... if you actually have a question...
Yeah, but if you have questions, pop them up. And if we didn't see them yet, pop them up again because...
someone says, who thought of the title? I mean, the first title was very different. It was something that was much more out there, I guess. And I thought I was being very poetic. But actually, it was a bit too like, what is this game about? Yeah, whereas this one is very like, okay, this is Horatio-centric. There's no way to mistake it for anything else. And, in these... I guess riding the zeitgeist of, talking about self-care and people having to take care of themselves, and then, just throwing the player in a very unequal society with all these terrible things happening and death probably lurking at every corner. It just made sense to have this just sound very innocuous.
Yeah, it's
is the story canon?
Is the story okay? This is a very interesting question.
It's the sliding scale of canon time.
It is the great sliding scale of canon. Okay, the setting is canon. You're on a Horatio station where they're doing cloning, and the clones are getting indoctrinated. I mean, that is very much how Horatio society works. So this specific station, these specific characters, I think. I don't think, it's not like they're going to go on and become governors and heroes and run planets, or are they?
In the story, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but probably not. The scope is limited in time.
It's on a scope. It's not on a scope of ruling empires. It's on a much more intimate scope, being a non-dating sim, as it is. So I just kind of put the question of canon to the side and say the setting is canon, and it's just events that happen in this setting. In a very canonical sort of way.
Yeah, the way we put it in the press release is, dude, probably. So,
well said.
It could happen.
That's the short version.
We're not saying it didn't happen.
Right.
Just that those events probably did not transpire to the rest of us. But as we mentioned before, if someone replaced a Horatio with another Horatio, we'd know.
Exactly.
Not any of us. Someone is saying, and that's a question for you, I guess, are there female Horatios?
Yeah, this is an interesting question. because in Space One, Horatio is much more androgynous. I mean, Horatio, there's really a lot of discussion about is he male, is he female? Do they refer to themselves as they or he or she? And when it came time to start doing the art for Space Two, it demasculinated himself somehow. So canonically, the way I like to think of it is right now, canonically, Horatio's a guy, but Horatio's tastes change, and
who can say?
Who can say? Yeah, exactly.
We'll see what the question leads for Endless Space 3, I guess.
Exactly. I mean, it's hard to imagine a person who is potentially more gender flexible than Horatio, because his ideal of beauty obviously changes with time. So,
someone has a question specifically for you, and it's the second time they ask, how good's your French? So do you want to answer that in French?
Female. No, my French is actually pretty good. I've been living and working in France for about 25 years. So most of the meetings I do are in French and that sort of thing.
And of course he's saying that in English because he hates us.
No, I feel like if I say it in French, I feel like I'm either showing off, or French people are going to watch and go, oh, he has an American accent. That would kill me. So I'd rather just say it's pretty good and not have to prove it. But no, I'm very comfortable in France. Thank you for asking. I could say that and just put that to rest. For instance, we did a quality time with Jeff video, and Arnaud was asking me questions in French and I replied in English. I didn't reply in French just because most people tend to consume the games in English. But anyway, I'll just stop there. Not an interesting topic. Sorry. Thank you for asking, though.
Other question, other races in the game. You might see other species from the Endless Universe, although in the first part, you will only see Horatio. You will definitely hear about other species, though, because, you get a little bit of an update on...
An update on galactic politics.
Yeah, this is how things are going right now, because you guys have been asleep for a while, and, so you will hear about others. Of course, it is from the point of view of Horatio, so, things might not be as you expect them to be.
Well, there's a Horatio point of view on other species, which you can probably guess if you know Horatio.
Of course. Someone's asking, of course, if we're considering making a CRPG based set on Auriga. So, of course, CRPG is more like a classical RPG, like, wow. I mean, I'm guessing this probably closer to Baldur's Gate, maybe? Yeah, so, isometric view, that kind of old school stuff. I would love to see that as well, but it is definitely beyond what I can program, so I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's definitely not in the timeline right now. We've talked about it before. The community has asked us about it. Players would like to do it. We'd love to do it, but frankly, it's a whole different genre of game and a whole different structure of game design and game production, and we got the plate full right now, pretty full. So I think don't hold your breath. It's a nice thought, but.
Yeah, someone's asking whether the game was written in French or in English, and the answer is in English, although that is not my native language.
So you guys should not be asking how good is my French. Ask how good his English is, right? He's French, and he speaks English like this.
If you see it, Jeff kind of went over this a bit, but mostly we've played it over and over, so any mistakes online, and the good bits are probably his.
No. I would not say that. No. Francois has an amazing level of English, so the game is written in English natively by Francois.
I know this is kind of like my victory lap, but this is a bit too much.
You're going to buy me a beer tonight. That's fine. We're good.
All right. No Path of the Endless. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, that's for Path of the Exile. Yeah, no, not yet, I'm guessing.
Path of the Endless.
We'll probably see, a year from now at April School.
Path of the Endless. I'll write that one down. Path of the Endless. Have we done that one before? I don't think we have.
Someone's asking if we're working in AL2, and of course the answer is, wouldn't you like to know?
Someday not now. Someday I'd love to, sure. I wouldn't know where to do it or how to do it.
But there are definitely other stories that could be told in Auriga, and we'll come back to it eventually, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe? I hope. Well, okay, other question. Does the game have a new soundtrack? And the answer to that, we'll give, because you're giving me a blank, is it depends. We basically took a lot of the songs from Endless Space 2 and had them remixed by, a collaborator of Flybyno. And so we kind of removed a tiny bit that, just so it would fit just right with the very special atmosphere that we were trying to create. And so it will sound familiar, but
Not
pretty
identical.
much-
Yeah.
it's its own thing. We hope. Someone's asking about merch. Well, we still don't have a merch store, and I guess this is a question that we've had, for 7 years.
Yes, roughly.
Definitely, at some point that will happen. It has to happen, I guess.
I think for these shirts alone, we need a merch store.
Yeah. So not now. Hopefully.
It's a thing we're thinking about and working on. We're not there yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. But that's a good question, and thank you for asking that. We can put pressure on the people who are supposed to
I
do
wish
it.
this was real and not April Fool's joke. Well, buddy, I really hope you go to Steam today. and
Look, free Steam. What have you got to lose? See if it's there.
Yeah, just check out our developer page, and maybe you'll find out something you like.
This is like the April Fools and the people who do April Fools, not an April Fools on the community. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get that,
Does that
but
make sense?
that's
But
not smart. So
something like that. Yeah, it's supposed to be clever. We'll see. So, what else can I ask you?
when are you
about
going
this?
to do an old game smash-up? Probably never. That sounds awful. A lore book though, Jeff.
A lore book. Whoa! Look at the time. Don't we have a?
Grab
Yeah.
this one.
No,
Upload it. That's what-
yeah. Yeah, no, I deserve that. Thank you. No, it's a thing. It's a thing. A lore encyclopedia kind of thing is something we're trying to work on. We're trying to find the time. We'd love to do. We need it ourselves internally because the universe has gotten big enough. It's getting complicated. It's hard for one person to remember everything. And so, thankfully, François here has a very good grasp on things that I may not.
And Steve.
And well, yeah, Steve, of course, Story Engine, who did most of the quest lines in certainly the new ones in Legend, a lot of the ones in Legend and Space 2. So yeah, I mean, we keep saying for like 2 years, I've been saying we'd love to do that. So we are trying to do that. Someday we'll have something done. I'm not going to put a date on it though, but it is a live project. It is something that we're trying to get done.
I had a question from someone who's asking about an endless RPG, pen and paper RPG. I mean,
Kat, you want to handle that one?
I mean, we have someone who's actually from the community doing their own version, kind of like with our support, I guess. It's not an official project, but it's something we're following from, very closely, I'm guessing. He's posting on the forums a lot. So
Right. Look at the forums. You'll find, I think there's maybe even 2 projects for...
The thread is called Making an Endless RPG Together,
Right.
I believe.
Did you guys hear that?
Making an endless RPG together. That is the thing. Get on that, guys.
That is the name of the thread.
Of
So
course, he's always looking for feedback and asking questions. So,
Yeah.
any love you can throw him.
definitely pitch in.
Yeah, I got an email from him not last week. I think it was like 4 days ago or something. So this is definitely still ticking along.
it's still ticking.
And
He is.
hopefully at some point, we'll actually have something. He'll have something ready that can show us, and that maybe we can show you. That is something we'd love to
He
do.
does have a first prototype.
Exactly.
He does have a first prototype, we were being told. So
Right. So
Cool.
maybe at some point, very, very. Well, I'm saying very soon. Actually, I have no idea. Maybe at some point.
yeah, put that in. Yes, ongoing.
Oh yeah, and
but
thanks to Sinaj for posting the link in the Twitch chat. That is much appreciated. If
Excellent,
you could hop
thank you.
over to the YouTube stream and then post there, that would be amazing. Will there one day be some games about the heroes in the Academy of Endless Space? I mean, up to a point, this is what this game is about. I'm not going to spoil the story, but you'll find out.
There's I mean, we sort of feel like we have this pretty interesting universe, and what Francois has done with Love Thyself is like an example of the kinds of things we can do, and you'd like to try to do more kinds of things like this going forward. No specific plans, no specific dates, but yeah, we want to develop some of this. It's too much fun to not do it. That's should we wrap this up? I feel like I've been talking far too much.
I'm guessing. I wanted to check where we were, but I just got an Amazon Prime commercial on my Twitch client, so I'm like, well, I'm not gonna check any of that.
Not interested.
Right. Well, any board game coming? Well, probably no, not at the moment, but it is definitely something we're looking at real close because we love board games.
Yes.
We just cannot, stop playing them, and we have our own dedicated Slack channels and board games enthusiasts as well.
Yes, a lot of those.
It's always so much easier to conceive a video game when you have like cardboard pieces and you can push around. You're like, yeah, this is a cool idea. Actually,
Here's a mechanism. Yeah, exactly. A game mechanic. Yeah.
so maybe at some point it's not something we're looking at right now, but if if we ever do actual merch, this is something that we would love to have ourselves.
Absolutely.
So potentially. And for someone who said, just got here, what's up? Do you want to give a quick recap? Just got here, what's up?
What's up? What's up is our April Fools is an April Fools on people who do April Fools, because it's not really an April Fools. We have actually, or I should say, Francois has actually taken the lead and created Love Thyself, which is a, how would you describe it?
A visual novel, really.
A visual novel. It's better than a Horatio dating sim. It's not really that, though. That was the original impetus for the project. And it's free. It's on Steam. You can download and play this very second.
Yeah, that is a great summary, and I have a follow-up question for you. Why does he call you Francois? For starting, is it your real name? And actually,
no,
because he's breaking character the whole time. I don't know. You would make a terrible wrestler, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, no. The problem was when he posts his real name on the forum. His nickname is Francois here, but his actual name is Frog Squadron.
Yeah,
he got it turned around. Mm-hmm. It's, you know.
You got me confused for a second. I was like, what? And I get it.
April Fools. Anyway, yeah. So.
Right. So I guess we're just gonna wrap this up now. And if you have any more questions, we actually have a Love Thyself forum on the Games Together. Well, it's a sub forum, really.
We have a Love Thyself forum.
Yeah,
just sounds really good.
It's a forum about self-care and self-love and finding who you truly are. Yeah. And so it's located on the Games Together in the Endless Space 2 section, and it's just a sub forum of the what's it called, general forum. So if someone can post a link in the chat, that would be great as well. And of course, we are looking forward to having your feedback, and we may include some G2G votes in the future. We'll see about that, depending again on success. And of course, we'd love, we've put a great deal of work into this, especially myself.
Yes.
But it goes for all the other people who work
for the whole team.
And we'd love to have your feedback. And of course, tell your friends maybe. If you like it, do leave a review. If you don't like it, forget about leaving a review.
Yeah, really.
Let's
go back to space.
Just let us know what you think of it, because of course, the more you tell us you like it, the more likely you're making it that this might happen again at some point.
Or the more you tell us how to make it better. We're very open to that. Absolutely.
We're always in this together, and this is thanks to us that this project happened in the first place. So thanks for being you, I guess, and being crazy enough not to let go of a throwaway joke, because we wouldn't have you any other way. All right, well, thanks for sticking with us. Let's have the trailer once again, and we'll say goodbye now.
Thank you, and thank you to Kat, who's running things behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Peggy.
Mute.
We are Horatio. Look upon us and be awed.